Good morning, power hitters. Today is Tuesday, October 12th, 2021. My name is Jarrett McAllister, your mentor and co-host, alongside my main man, Jonathan Bernasso. What's up, brother? How are you?
Good morning, Jarrett. Good afternoon. I've got my Claremont chamber. I just went to a breakfast. Always be networking. You got to practice what you preach, right?
100%, brother. And I have my beautiful San Francisco Giants ball cap. This is actually from when we won the championship a full season back in 2010. But yeah, what a game last night, huh? Your Dodgers against mine. And
2-1.
San Francisco Giants.
We have another game tonight. We'll see what happens. Yeah, that was a great game.
That was a classic, instant classic, 1-0. The series is up 2-1 Giants. We shall see what happens tonight, but very excited.
Yes, sir.
Oh, Kiara, let's go Giants. I see you, girl.
All right, All right. But besides the success story of Jarrett's Giants winning, I know Eric. Eric, I know you sold a deal or two. I know you're friends with some corporate people at Power. I think you're looking at a BNI. Go ahead and share a success story or two, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I got started in Power and kind of I was transitioning from another business, so I wasn't putting a lot of time and focus, but recently just made the decision in the last month or two to kind of cut what I was doing to put all my energy here. And last week signed a contract with a friend of mine, and she's a big realtor down in Florida. So we put a 19 kilowatt system on her home there. And then local farmers market over here, a guy that I buy some lion's mane mushrooms from. I asked him where he grows them. He said at his home. We got into a conversation. I'm like, wow, you must spend a lot of electricity in that back warehouse that he's got. And he said, yeah. So we got into a conversation about solar. And then a couple of days later, met with him on Zoom with him and his wife, and we put a 21 kilowatt ground mount system at his house there in Southern California. And then I was away this weekend in Arizona in Sedona, and my girlfriend introduced me to a friend of hers, and I got her electric bill for a home in New Jersey. We have a presentation today at 1:00, and then another guy down there in Sedona as well. He owns a bunch of properties, and they're growing food for a lot of the community there. So he wants to jump on the phone today and talk about solar too. So,
nice.
And then the BNI. And then I appreciate the hit on the BNI. My application got approved. I paid last night. So I'll be attending my first meeting with them on Thursday here in San Diego.
Hell yeah. Rock star status. My goodness. That's awesome to see. Congrats. So if anyone knows someone growing magic mushrooms, guys, that's a good that's a good solar client. All right. Thanks so much, brother. Can't wait to see you again. Congrats.
Well, thanks, brother. I appreciate you.
Anyone else feeling excited to share a success story?
Sure. This is Victor Montreal. Can you hear me?
Yes, Victor. Howdy.
Yeah, I was get on board last month, September 16. And to story short, I just have a brand new ambassador yesterday, a young guy, 22 years old. He has a lot of energy and enthusiasm. He's gonna send me some leads shortly. Also, tomorrow I have a brand new canvasser. She's gonna work for me 2 or 3 days a week, a couple of hours a day, something like that. In town, where I live in California City. And also on the 21st, I believe it's a Thursday, it's going to start a brand new ad that I put in a local newspaper, and hopefully, to get some calls out of those ads. Awesome. So that's the three things that I have, doing mainly on the recent days.
Great work, Victor. Yeah, a lot of momentum there, a lot of activities. The ambassador program sounds like you're really utilizing that. So great start, my friend. Good to see you.
Sure. Same here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I got one, JB.
Yes, sir. Please. Anthony.
So Ishmael Bermasco signed his third lead this past week. And so he's 3 for 3. And Jordan Shaw, he's close to hitting mentor status. I think he's like the contract.
Awesome. Congrats. Yeah, Anthony's one of the leader mentors in Southern California, Corona, and he's building his team. He recruited a top EXP realtor, Jordan, and one of his customers, Ishmael, was so excited he became a consultant. And you said he signed his third deal right now?
Yeah, last night. Yeah. One of them got installed, one's in the process, and last night I got his third deal signed. So he's 3 for 3 right now.
Wow. And that was what, like 2 months, maybe?
A little less than 2 months. Yeah. But being involved with power.
That's awesome, Anthony. Congrats, sir. A lot of passive income, a lot of families being helped because of you. So great work.
Jonathan, I have a shout out.
Hey, hey. What's
So
up?
my consultant, Alex, he's been killing it. He's in Florida. He just graduated to consultant. So super proud of him. He has a really, really strong work ethic, and I believe a little baby on the way. So that always helps motivate. But yeah, I wanted to shout out Alexander.
Awesome. Congrats, Kiara. Congrats to your team. Kiara is another mentor on here. Alex, did you want to talk real quick? I think you raised your hand. No? Not sure if he knows how to unmute himself, but okay, cool. Well, congrats, Kiara, again. And a quick shout out to all the mentors on here, right? Kiara is in kind of LA area, Southern California, building a team. She's a mentor, of course. Jarrett McAllister here. We just heard from Anthony Bonilla. We're going to hear from Michael Patterson today. We have Cynthia Alvidrez on here, David Perez on here, Owen Carey, Northern California. And let me mute that person. I think we have James Higgins on here. I know Larry McKinney is a mentor. So yeah, I'm not sure if I'm missing any mentors, but shout out to all the amazing mentors that help support and train and add value. And then one more share, Ramsey.
Yeah, so I've been door knocking a lot. I've been getting a lot of great mentorship with David. And I knocked yesterday, and I literally don't have my cards yet that I ordered, the material that I was talking about earlier. And I tell people, I say I have, my e-card that you can take a picture of, or I can send it to you via text, whatnot. And I've given away so many ambassador referral links through that, and people are signing up. And one of the clients, or one of the people that actually wasn't interested, came out to one of my shows. I perform out at Disney. I sing and perform, and just creating great relationships through this door knocking, and it just opened a new world for me of gratitude and appreciation. So my win was just being more grateful in life and what I do and my purpose. That's it.
Love it, Ramsey. Keep that good energy flowing. I love the positivity. Always good to see you show up. So great stuff, everybody. I appreciate all the shares. Thank you, Jarrett. I'm going to go over just some quick future trainings, and then we'll jump into today's content and wrap it up with some announcements and contests. So just some future trainings real quick. We have today, Tuesday, 12 p.m. consultant training with Andrew Smith, Pacific in Power Calendar. Thursdays, if you're newer here, definitely take an onboarding once or twice Thursdays. Friday is a little bit unique. This is going to be a market expansion Q&A with Bobby Smith. If you can see this flyer graphic in the top right, we're really going to be building into the East Coast Freedom Tour, they're calling it. So North Carolina, Virginia, and New Jersey. You want to obviously attend if you can, if you're in those areas. You want to invite others to attend, but you even want to get consultants to join before these events and have them also invite as well. So these are always fun. You're going to meet Bobby and Charles as we build out our East Coast. So definitely plan and build into that. And then just a reminder, JC Rangel is really leading, and as also I'll be there, and trying to think who else will be there. Charles, JC, myself. You're going to hear from Keenan. You're going to hear from Eric Garcia, David Perez, Luis Perez. So a lot of the top 10, top 20 people will be teaching a Solar Mentor Factory, November 13th and 14th. This is 2 days at the DoubleTree. So it's a very nice event. And there is a little small fee to this. which is, insignificant compared to what value in training and you close one deal. So try to go to Solar Mentor Factory. November 13th and 14th is going to be the 2-day training. All right. So today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be hearing some training from Michael Patterson. I'll also try to add a little value. If there's any questions, put it in the chat. We'll try to do a Q&A at the end. But today we're going to be training on parts 3 and 4 of Solar Mastery. So it is going over net metering, what that means, how to talk about it, buying back rates, time of use, and then solar financing, lease, PPA, cash, PACE. So just some high level basics. On my YouTube, you could find parts 1 and 2 if you'd like, and then we'll just cover parts 3 and 4 today. All right, Mike Patterson, are you out there?
I'm here. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for the chance to do this. So we're going to go over net metering. That's kind of the principle of how all these systems work, how you can make a system that only makes power during the day, power your house all day. Sorry, I'm a little out of breath. I only have one leg. I just had to run downstairs to get a charger.
Mike, why don't you tell us real quick, where are you at in Florida? You're a mentor. You sold some massive battery deals.
I'm just south of Tampa, in between Tampa and Sarasota, for those of you who know Florida. We don't have the greatest utility rates for solar here. It's pretty cheap still, but everything is growing, getting expensive very quickly. We do have a lot of hurricanes. So, I sell probably 90% of my deals have at least 2 batteries. Just crossed the 300 kilowatt hour backlog last week of batteries waiting to get installed. So that's how I build the value a lot of times, is building systems with big batteries, power their house when our very weak grid goes down.
Got it.
So anyone has questions at the end about batteries, or shoot me a text or a message or anything, I'm always happy to talk about those. I like getting into the technicals.
Yeah, and you're also a Sonova expert. So
yeah, I use Sonova all the time to help offset the cost of the batteries, and they have an awesome 25-year battery warranty that I would kill to have on my own personal battery system. So I guarantee these batteries won't last you 25 years. So getting into net metering, that's kind of the basis of how this whole thing works. I'm sure you know your solar panels obviously need to get struck by light to make electricity. They make DC, it has to get converted at the inverter to make AC and then power your house. During the day, you basically are making all of the electricity that you need for the entire 24 hours. So the first dibs comes to powering your house directly, and then any of the extra power that you have goes out through your meter, turns it backwards, and out to the grid. So you're essentially using the grid like a gigantic battery system that you didn't have to pay for. So you're essentially powering your neighbors' houses as well during peak times. During probably around noon through mid-afternoon, onto the next slide here, we got a nice chart of it. You can see you make your biggest amount of power that you make. All right, so your house uses a little more in this time too. So you can see your usage spikes, but all of that red area is extra power that you're sending out to the grid. You build credits for these. So a lot of people like to say you turn your meter backwards. We all know the meters are all digital now, but you're building credits. I like to make the analogy that you have basically a bank account. And at this point, you're depositing credits in the bank account. And then when it comes to night, your blue areas is when you're withdrawing those credits. So as long as you don't ever go negative, you shouldn't really owe anything beyond your connection fee. You're just storing your extra power for the day and then using it, taking it back at night. A lot of utilities, especially here in Florida, like to pretend like we're hurting them by doing this. In reality, you're offsetting their peak loads because we're making the most power and taking the demand off the system right at the same time when there is the highest demand. So middle of the afternoon, everyone's air conditioners going, you're also powering your neighbors' houses. And at night, when there's less demand, you're bringing that power back. So you have to basically look, next slide, please. You have to basically look at how the net metering is arranged with each utility. I know out west, it's a little different than we have it here. But what you're looking for, the best that you can have is what we call one-to-one net metering, meaning that for every kilowatt hour that you send out, you get a kilowatt hour back. Here, our good utilities don't monetize that. So a kilowatt hour that you give them equals a kilowatt hour back. And they maintain your balance in kilowatt hours. When they monetize it, now suddenly you have to look at what is your import price and what's your export price. And what that means is, what are you buying the electricity for? And what are they buying electricity from you for? So typically, you're buying electricity at a retail price, the same that you probably did before you had your system. Here, it's about 12 cents a kilowatt hour. I know out there, we're looking like 40 cents a kilowatt hour sometimes. But then when they buy the power from you, here they're paying 2 to 3 cents a kilowatt hour. Out there, I guess it's 7 to 10 cents a kilowatt hour. So you really don't make any money by selling them power. And you really want to try and get that perfect offset, because every credit that you offset, you're essentially getting the retail value out of it. Meaning for every kilowatt hour that I make that my house also uses, I'm offsetting that retail price, that 12 cents, rather than just getting the 2 cents that Tico would pay me.
Right. I'll just add to the, in California, there's something called time of use. And if you send energy back before 4 p.m., it's a certain credit. If you send energy back after 4 p.m., it's a higher credit. So you need to know if there's net metering 2.0 here in California, how to size a system properly, because it does change when you export it, what you're getting paid. And then there are some smaller utilities, like for example, Imperial Irrigation District in Southern California, that only gives you 6 cents when you send it, but their rate is 12 cents. So you always have to know the utility or work with a mentor leadership that's familiar, or Google the utility net metering policies to know the buyback program.
And those are all creeping. We're starting to get some of our smaller utilities are requiring the same type of time of use. And they're even throwing in surcharges where whatever your highest use day of the month is, they're charging you an X price just based on that day during the peak times. So you got to look, each utility is different, like Jonathan said. And then the true up statement. So that's a little different depending where you are. I'll speak to how we are here first, and then Jonathan will throw in a little extra for how it is out west. But here in Florida and a lot of the utilities I've worked with on the East Coast, you typically start your month or start your fiscal year sometime in the early spring. For us, it's February. So then you start building up credits of all of the extra power that you make in the spring, because it's cooler, your air conditioner's not running, there's less storms, it's a lot sunnier. We build all of our credits in the spring typically. And you basically bank those. You put them in your bank account, like I mentioned, and you hold on to them for the summer. Summer comes around, it's a lot hotter. Our air conditioners never turn off. We get thunderstorms and overcast every day like it is today. And you start using more than what you made. That's when we start pulling the power out of that bank account. For August, for example, I made 200 kilowatt hours less than I used at my house. So luckily I had those banked from the spring. If you continue all the way around, and if we get to, let's say November or late October or something like that, and you run out of credits out here, when you go negative, start charging you immediately. So when you don't have any more credits to cover your bill, if you used more than you made, you have to pay for that immediately. Versus when you make more than you use, it banks. My understanding is out west, they have one annual true up and it goes both ways. So, you build up your credits or you build up negatives depending how your system size and what time of year it is. And then whenever that one time that's set in your contract is per year, you either pay the difference or you get paid the difference. Does that sound about right for you guys out there, Jonathan?
Yeah, so out here on most utilities by default, they're automatically placed on an annual true-up period, which means at the end of their 12-month solar billing cycle, and unfortunately it's taken like 3 freaking months to finally switch to a solar billing cycle right now. At the end of the 12 months is when they do that true-up, right? So You always have to have the customers send me your next 2 to 3 bills. Check out your billing statements. Solar's not unlimited. I don't want you owing Edison or the utility at the end of the year. So by default, yes, it's a 12-month true up period. You can opt to be switched to a month-to-month true up though, if you'd like to call your utility.
Yeah, so the most important thing is just figure out how each utility works. So not only do you have to figure out how their net metering works, is it on a unit of electricity or a unit of money? Meaning, are you banking kilowatt hours or are you banking the monetary value that they assign to those kilowatt hours? But then you have to figure out when they're going to charge you and when they're going to pay you. And a lot of this is also why you don't really want to oversize systems typically, because the amount that you get back is nowhere near the amount that it's going to cost you. You really only want to offset those retail rates.
I'll say that's probably true for Florida and Texas. You wouldn't want to oversize. Here in California with time of use, we always recommend being 110 to 120% offset because you need more produced during the day. But yeah, in other states like where Michael's at, guys, you probably don't want to go over 100% offset.
Yeah, and a lot of the utilities really won't let you anyways. But yeah, so an important thing to know is how much power are you making? One way that you can look if you trust your utility is look at the bill. It'll tell you power import and power exported or power bought, power sold, depending how they word it. So you can look at how much power did they get from you versus how much power did they send you. That's assuming that they're accurate and assuming that they're being honest with it. Most, if not all, inverters will actually keep track of that and give you monitoring. So personally, I have a SolarEdge inverter here on my system. Luckily, they just upgraded their app and it's excellent now. So I can log in there and it shows me exactly how much I'm producing from each panel, the whole system throughout the day, throughout the month, throughout the year, etc. And I can see right at my system level, it's recording what I produced. I know Enphase the same way. And I actually, my system, because of the batteries, I can track how much power that my house is using as well. So I can look and see where my production compares to my consumption and just kind of fact check, sure that my electric bill is accurate. You know, there might be an issue with the meter. It might not be tracking things accurately. My net metering might have never gotten activated. And here, if you're not upgraded to a smart meter and you just turn your system on your own, the meter can't tell the difference between power coming in and power coming out. So it just double charges you then. So things that you just want to check and make sure everything's set up correctly.
One thing I'll mention too, Mike, is, you know, Power is pretty good, guys, at giving us the production monitoring report. So you always want to wait till you have 3 months of production before Power is going to do a review for whatever reason. If we think it's not producing what it should, you want to have 3 months of full production. Now, if you have a customer you've helped a few months back, you can ask the project manager or customer care at power.com to please review the production and make sure it's producing what we estimated. And the good news about Power's estimates in the solo proposal, we gather some data from PV watts. They have over 40 years of weather data based on that home's longitude and latitude. We use the lower estimate of energy production. Unlike other companies that might use a higher estimate, we do give a lower estimate so that hopefully these systems produce as much or more than we promised on the solo proposal, which even breaks down the estimated production month by month. So if you need to get your system's production checked, Power, the project manager, or customer care at power.com can help with that.
Yeah, and on that note, it's always better to undersell and overproduce. You know, you don't get complaints from customers when their system works better than you told them it would. You'll get plenty of complaints the other way around. And you know, Jonathan had mentioned the time of use meter. We're, like I said, we're starting to get those here. So with those, it usually works both ways. So they incentivize you sending them back power during expensive time of the day. You get more paid to you. Depending what time of day you send the electricity to the utility. But at the same time, and penalize you, because if you have to use any power during that expensive time of the day, it costs you a lot more. So some people are able to plan their day out, do a lot of their energy intensive things like laundry, or if they have an electric car, charge it at night. And then a lot of times with these, for utilities that we have in Florida that are requiring time of use meters, that's just another way that I can get a battery in their system, because the batteries all have programming in them that works with time of use. So it knows when it's more valuable to use power from the battery versus using power from the grid, if it ever needed to charge from the grid for a storm, etc. So, here the rates are so low to begin with. That's one way that the utilities are trying to claw a little bit of money back when we take their customers away. But it just adds more value to doing a fully customized system specific to their needs.
Yeah, I think it's only a matter of time till the only other utilities follow suit, and net metering 2.0 or 3.0 forces time of use billing across the country. So, all right, let's just let me just see if we had a couple questions on net metering before we go into the last topic here. Yeah, love the knowledge, Michael. I always like hearing people, the way they phrase things. It's always a great learning experience to hear that. All right, 120% in California is what Owen says, yes. Why you wouldn't oversize in Texas? Kind of like Michael said, that they don't necessarily need to be higher. They're not being forced to a time of use plan. You may want to give them a little bit higher, just because when people go solar, they use more energy, but it's not as critical. It's not as critical as it is in California, Laura. And then just be mindful, everyone, that some utilities actually have 100% limit on the offset in other areas as well. Virginia, James, I'm going to have to recommend you to probably a Virginia mentor. And then Reggie asked a time frame on net metering 3.0. I'm kind of saying middle to end of next year is my best guess. I don't know how the legislation is going to play out, but that's kind of what I'm telling people right now. Like in California, get signed up now to lock in the net metering 2.0 and be grandfathered in, because 3.0 is going to be a lot less advantageous. All right. So that wraps up module 3.
One thing to throw in here.
Yep.
You're lucky that you grandfathered out there. We just found out here that there is no such thing as grandfathering. When they changed their rule, it doesn't matter if you'd already applied and gotten certification. We had applied for interconnection with TECO, and they changed the rule in between the application and the interconnection itself. And suddenly we have to follow their new rules. And a customer who was already installed suddenly needed $1 million of liability insurance. So we don't have the state saying, your net metering 2.0, 3.0 like you do there. But each utility seems to be able to kind of make it up as they go, unfortunately. And they're monopolies, so what they say goes.
Right.
But it's more motivation to keep stealing customers from them.
Right. Takeaway, know your market.
Absolutely.
All
So, getting into the financing, why are suddenly you drive through these new neighborhoods, why does everyone have solar panels? When, 10, 15 years ago, it was a rare thing that you saw. And the biggest thing is that they're getting more and more affordable. So, instead of having to fork down all this money up front, almost everybody, ourselves included, are doing zero down financing options, where you're basically replacing their utility bill with a solar bill that stays the same. It doesn't change year after year. It doesn't keep going up whenever the utility decides to. You're giving them that fixed energy cost over whatever your term is, 20 years, 25 years, 12 years, and so on. So usually you can save them money. It says 5 to 50%. We're probably closer to the lower side over here, and it seems like California is probably on that 50% side. But any savings right off the bat are huge, and then you have savings down the road because you're not getting those increases every year. You increase the home value. I mean, that's kind of a given. I work a lot with realtors here, and they'll tell me flat out, even back when the market was normal, when a system had solar panels, it was sold. Like they couldn't even hold on to it. If it had solar and batteries, it was, you know, a bidding war. So it's huge. But, you know, as far as the financing, we've got obviously cash purchases, the no money down loans that we had mentioned. You know, we have Sunlight, Goodleap, Pace, and then my personal favorite that a lot of people don't like, the Sonova. You know, there's leases, which are not a big thing out here, but I understand that they're big out west, and PPAs, which are actually illegal here. But those last two, 3 and 4, are probably what's responsible for starting the residential solar revolution. Back when the panels were too expensive for individual customers to buy, you had the big companies, you know, the Teslas, the Sunruns, and whoever that could send themselves and have, you know, just charge the customer either a lease or a PPA. So buying a system is our favorite. Whether it's cash, whether it's a low interest loan, you're building equity in the house. You know, you're building that value, you own it. So we always like to use the analogy of you own your own power plant rather than you're renting your electricity from the utility. It's saying here 2.9 to 6.9% interest rates. We've got as low as 0% now. So they're just getting lower and lower and lower. And the lower they are, obviously, the better it is. Combine that with the tax credit. And, you know, I've got a lot of people who are paying to put pools in their backyard because they have a huge tax credit coming at 0%. Why would you pay that back? You know, and then the term, the longer the loan is, obviously, the lower your payment is. Some people like to pay it off faster, get that equity quicker. So you got to look at the customer's individual situation. But the best part about buying the system is when it's paid off, it's yours and the system's still working. You know, the longest loan term that we have is 25 years. You put a 30-year solar insure warranty on that, they still have 5 years of warranted production, even after it's paid off, if they take every last second of it. Pace is another option that's out there. That's kind of for people who don't qualify for traditional credit. It adds it to their tax lien on their house. A little more difficult to sell your house with it, but it can be an option for someone who's planning on staying put, really wants solar, could benefit from it, but just can't qualify through traditional financing. So biggest question we always get, what if you sell your house? I get it from realtors. I get it from people all the time. Easiest thing to do is just have it paid off at closing. When the people buy their house, it gets paid off. It's built into their mortgage. Now they don't have a second payment, and you know, they still have all the benefits of having that solar on their house. You know, it adds quite a bit of value to the house. I've seen numbers on the national side around $4.1 $4.5 per watt. I can tell you that's after factoring in the tax credit. That's quite a bit more than we're charging for these systems. So they're building more value in their system than they're even paying for it. I can tell you in strong markets, you know, even here in Florida, the number's even higher than that, just off experience. And we all know the market's inflated right now, but the higher that number is, the more return on investment they get. So just, you know, the federal government, the National Renewable Energy Lab, they're finding these numbers. They're finding 5.9 per watt. They're saying the houses sell for 20% faster, 17% more. I know Zillow did a study on this as well, the National Association of Realtors. They're all finding about the same thing. You have solar on your house, it's easier to sell and you can sell it for more. So that's the easiest way to pay it off. You know, and if you take the amount of money that you spent on your solar system, think of it as an investment, and you look at your return on investment. Compare that to bonds or CDs or even the stock market, and you can see that you're actually making quite a bit more return on that investment by investing in your own solar production compared to, you know, paying the utility and putting that money in the stock market or something like that.
One thing I like to point out here too, real quick, Mike, is especially my brother does this. He runs all the math and the numbers, and if you are able to put down cash or do a short loan, the ROI is really good, guys. Like, so if you do cash, especially in California, and you show them right in front of them that this thing will pay for itself in 6.5 years, assuming the utility does not go up in price, which equates to a 15% ROI every year. I mean, it's a beautiful place to park your money with markets and stock markets so high right now, right? This is a guaranteed, and it's only going to increase and pay for itself faster. So I love looking at this as an investment.
Yeah, I'm stealing that chart for my own homeowner meetings now. That's an awesome way to present it, especially to those people we always encounter who are real finicky with their math and their finances, or responsible, however you want to look at it. But yeah, the government, the private sector, they're all finding the same thing, that solar makes your house more valuable, makes it sell easier. It saves you a lot of money over a long term. It's really a no-brainer once people understand, the value of it. And a lot of people don't. They just see the sticker price, and that's something that you have to kind of break down and show it to them. I can tell you, selling your house is probably one of the biggest objections that we get here, because most people in Florida aren't holding their houses for very long. They're selling them every 4 or 5 years. But yeah, so let's get into the leases. It's very similar to a car lease. Basically, the company that you do it through, which for us is Sunnova, they own the system and they're leasing it to you for whatever set amount of time that the contract's for, which I believe is usually 25 years.
Yep.
So they own the system on your roof. You get the production. You're basically paying the depreciation for it. Value to a lease is, again, 0 down options. And it's, exactly what your payment's going to be. You can get those savings. And, I'll look into these occasionally if I have a customer who doesn't qualify for the investment tax credit for whatever reason. And that way they can still take advantage of the savings. But Sunnova, in this case, owns the system, and they don't have to worry about collecting and repaying that 26% tax credit to keep their payment from changing. Generally the purchase is the more common these days, but leases had their place and they still do in certain situations. Jonathan, I'll let you take this one away because they're illegal in Florida.
Sure. So yeah, leases, kind of like what Sunrun and Solar City used to sell a lot of, what got the industry started 7-10 years ago. It's case by case, like Mike said. It might be good for someone that doesn't have a tax appetite or tax liability. Maybe it's someone that doesn't want to take on debt or a loan. And sometimes maybe their friend already has a lease and they have this preconception, well, I don't want to take care of it. I want them to own it and them to insure it. And I don't want a big loan. So it's case by case, guys, but it is possible. We have mentors in the pilot program with Sunnova that can help show you a lease or a power purchase agreement. So PPA, it's the same thing, pretty similar to a lease, but a typical PPA does go up and down. So you're literally paying for what the solar system produces in that month. If it produced 1,000 kilowatt hours and your PPA is 16 cents a kilowatt hour, then in that month, they're paying $160, right? So a PPA is just another fancy term for a rental, a lease. It's a 25-year contract. We do offer these with Sunnova. Now with a lease or PPA, if you sell the home, there are usually 2 options. 9 out of 10 times I say it transfers to the next homeowner. They advertise the home as a lower electric bill, fully insured, repaired, warranted, monitored, production guarantee. Or option 2, there's a buyout option. So either the buyer or the seller can buy it out. So that's a PPA or lease, the 2 options when you're selling, pretty similar to a loan, right? You transfer the loan payment or you pay it off with the PPA lease. And just as a side note for some of you out there, Sunnova is working on getting us what's called a prepaid PPA. They can pay up front for a 25-year guaranteed system without worrying about any tax liability or tax credit as well. And then,
and just a warning on the Sunnova loans. We went through this not too long ago, or the leases, I'm sorry. Their buyout is actually just the sum of all their outstanding payments. So you can prepay for the rest of the lease, but they don't have any sort of discounted buyout at any point. Not here in Florida, at least.
gotcha.
But yeah, other things that are driving the adoption of solar is obviously the federal tax credit. Federal government has been giving tax credits 30% first. Now we're down to 26%, but that's going away. So you can build some urgency with that. We have 1 more year of 26%, assuming they don't change it again. But it'll help you build some urgency, and who doesn't love getting some of their tax money back? But yeah, it's this is not money back. It's a deduction. So if they don't owe taxes, they're not going to get anything back. It's basically the money you're getting back is money that you've already had withheld. So they have to have a tax liability in order to get the tax credit. That's something that's very important. Don't go selling somebody a $100,000 system, telling them that they're getting $26,000 back from the federal government, and their tax liability for the year is $500. I believe it's 5 years total. You have to collect the whole tax credit. And you know, if you're paying $500 a year, you're never going to get $26,000 out of that. Like we mentioned already, the zero down options, whether it's loans, PPAs, leases, the PPAs and leases, like I said, really started this revolution. And now for the most part, the loans are taking over. And then little by little, utilities and cities and states are starting to offer their own incentives. That would be nice. Here, the utilities seem to be throwing up more and more roadblocks for us, but just more motivation for us. And then I would even say the fact that it's becoming more and more mainstream. You know, here you drive through the neighborhood, and you know, I always go for what I call an anchor customer, the first person I get in a neighborhood, because once you get that first one, their neighbors talk to them and they see them on the roof, and you know, they talk about their $15 electric bill that they have now instead of their $300 electric bill they had before. So the more out there it gets, the more mainstream it gets, the more people that are going to be switching over to solar. So yeah, like we just talked about.
This is wrong.
Yeah, so
I think.
yeah, it's delayed a year. With the stimulus this year, they delayed it by a year. So January 1st of 2022, it drops down to 22%, and then I think like 13%, and then it's gone. Again, assuming that they don't change it again, which they like to.
Next year is 26% guaranteed.
Yep.
Right now. Yeah. So,
Yeah, so I think that would be 2022 is when it drops to 22%. January 1st of 2022. Or 20, no, that's coming up.
Yeah.
Oh, we're still in 2020. My bad.
COVID years, they go fast.
Yeah, they blend together. So yeah, we don't have a lot of these here, but even things as little as developers are starting to, when they try and get properties rezoned as part of their way of appeasing the counties or the city or town or whatever they're in, they're offering to put solar on every single house to ease the strain on that the grid there. A lot of times that kind of sucks for us because it takes market away, or so you would think, but at least the developers that we have here, they're building $500,000 houses. So, 5,000 square feet houses with 10 panels on them, 10, Q-cell 315 panels on them or something like that. Doesn't even touch it. It's just this gimmick. So you can still get with those people and go and put an actual system on their house that's properly sized.
Was Miami requiring solar? I thought I heard maybe.
It's in the talks and in the works. So we've got this constant struggle between the politicians, for the most part, support residential solar, but the way that the law is here, the utilities are not allowed to deny you. So instead, they just keep throwing up these complete BS roadblocks. The latest one that I had mentioned earlier was if you have batteries that are greater than 15 kilowatt hours, you need tier 1 insurance for Tampa Electric. So why you need $1 million in liability insurance because you have batteries when you don't need that for a whole home generator completely blows my mind. But you know what? They throw up roadblocks. It's just more motivation. So it just shows that we're winning the fight, basically.
This is kind of old, but this is the tax credit, $56.95 qualified property costs. Yeah.
And you can get this multiple times, by the way. A lot of people will ask that if they had already bought a system on a house and then they moved, you can do it again. Yeah, so, regardless of which way you go, you're saving the customer money, you're earning a good living, and all of that combined, you're replacing coal or gas or whatever else was producing that electricity in the past. So it's win-win-win. Nobody loses with this.
Awesome, Michael. It's so good to have you on the platform, on the team here, and supporting everybody, especially a Florida expert, battery expert, and a mentor here. So really appreciate you, and congrats to a baby coming this Friday.
Yes, thank you.
We expect to see pictures next week.
Maybe I'll have them with me for the meeting.
There you go. All right, Michael. Well, I really appreciate it. Let's take a quick peek at a question or two, and then we'll come back to Q&A at the end. And feel free to put your contact info in the chat, Mike. Larry McKinney, is there a 5-year buyout on a lot of these? So he's probably talking about the lease or the PPA. I believe Sonova does have an option at year 5 to pay off the remainder of the term, kind of like Mike said, and that is in the Sonova agreement. So at time of sale or at year 5, there is usually a buyout option. Tammy, send us an email and we'll get you these slides, but this will be put on my YouTube as well. And then James, same thing there. We'll send you over this slide. PACE loan, I think Reggie, I mentioned that. PACE loans are usually longer, like 15, 20, sometimes 30 years, because it goes with the tax. It's put into the taxes, right? It's a tax lien technically. So as long as they're not refinancing or selling in the next year or two, it can make a lot of sense if they don't have the credit. You just have to have 15% equity in the home to qualify for PACE and have a little bit of income as well. Yeah, Marcus, always check with your CPA. Everyone has different things to say. Tammy, as a realtor designated broker, I say the key to getting value for a house with solar is to hire a realtor with a NAR green designation. That's an amazing thing to point out real quick. So you can literally search National Association of Realtors, NAR. There's a green designation. You can even find a list of green realtors in your area. I would encourage you all to do this. Google NAR green realtors, type in a zip code or 2, and call 10 of them. We have a gentleman on here that called 10 green realtors. One of them signed up as an ambassador, gave him a buyer with a $1.5 million home, and my brother and him closed the deal. All because he called 10 freaking green realtors. And one of them joined up as a consultant underneath him. All because he decided to take initiative and call 10 green realtors. I think that was actually David Odell, Dustin Odell's father. All right, all right. Well, Michael, thanks again. I have a few last minute updates here, guys. So really appreciate you being on here, sir.
Absolutely. I appreciate the opportunity.
All right, a couple last updates. For those of you that missed the Wednesday Masterclass Immersive once a month, which includes a CEO call on power.live. And if you are looking for additional training and motivation and follow up, go to power.live for additional training. So in California, we will be seeing a little bit of a segmented labor cost. And I think this is a great thing. Southern California will stay at $1.02 for construction and racking. If you look in solo proposal and you hit pricing, top right, base price is $1.02. NorCal will be going to $1.17 because all you NorCal San Fran Giants up there have to get paid more, like Owen and Jarrett. So we are finding that labor is tough in the whole country right now. Everything from the ports and the ships not being able to be unloaded to parts for everything's more expensive and inflation. So this is a good thing, guys. We're going to have better labor partners. We're going to pay them more. They're going to be more incentivized, and they're going to treat our customers better, which is the most important. And then the Bay Area, San Fran Bay in particular, is just $1.32 price increase there. Some new products coming. Please continue to sell the Eagle 375, Jinko Eagle with headquarters in Jacksonville, black on black. Those are amazing. Likely, maybe this week, they'll be coming off the proposal as soon as we sell through our allotted supply, and then we'll be moving to Q-Cell 400 black on blacks, 54 cents plus sales tax. That's an amazing company, guys. Hanwha Q-Cells, 400 watts, black on black. Those will be coming on this week. We still have the 350 watt black on white. we will be getting probably some point in December. These are all estimates. Just sell whatever is in solo proposal is my recommendation. But Canadians, $395 black on black. Those sound awesome. And then I think this is for Texas only. If you don't see it in solo, it's not available. But Mission 415 watts is a Texas promo. All right. And then Jonathan Budd did mention there is a contest going on right now, October 6th to December 15th. First prize, $7,500. Second prize, $5,000. Third prize, a year of BNI membership. And then fourth prize, local videos to shoot and build your brand. And then 5 other people are going to get $500. So really cool here. The masters, you get 2 points if you refer a new consultant that joins and completes their certification. You get 4 points if that consultant also submits a contract during the contest period. So this is all about team building and attracting people to join Power. So keep an eye out for that. We'll try to give updates here about a 2-month contest with some great prizes. All right, last 2 things here. Really, I mean, if someone's trying to get it installed this year, it's already, depending on your market, it's already pretty close. But you really need to push. If they're trying to get it installed this year to get the tax rate this year, they have to sign up now is the most important thing. SoCal Edison, really time of use is changing. They have to select something by November. Everyone is being screwed to 4 to 9 p.m. So make sure if you work in SoCal Edison to let people know about that. And then as always, there's a 15-minute video, solarmodelexplained.com. It's especially important for the contest. If you're trying to win the contest, this is a great video to send someone. It explains power in 15 minutes. It gets them excited. Then you should jump on a Zoom with them, maybe with your leader or your mentor, show them whatever else they need to see, answer their questions, and get them to join. So this is a great 15-minute video. And lastly here today, I want to personally make my donation for Give Power. This is not mandatory, but I'm going to share a Google Drive with you guys. I know I've mentioned this before. If you're new, go ahead and take a look. The Google Drive will lead you to Give Power. They build solar water farms, giving fresh water to 30,000 people a day. And this team has partnered with Give Power to raise funds, as well as Prosperity Homes, where we build homes in Mexico. And both of these nonprofits, we have slides you can put in your slide deck. I communicate this to every homeowner. I say my twin brother and I get to work together and we donate and we put solar on homes in Mexico. So if you so desire, include this in your slide deck. And I'm going to go ahead and do Give Power. We recommend $40 per install. I'll go ahead and share the link here. So the team has raised about $4,000 so far.